People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you for watching and rocking and tuning back in each and every time to my little YouTube videos and whatnot, people. It's appreciated and it means the world. But Arsenal finished playing technically their first, I'd say, debut month of the 2019-20 season. August is out the way, the opening month in the Premier League. We're now into September. Of course, a bit of it ties into September, but we're already past the first sort of hurdle as we've approached this international break, in which many players from Arsenal and other clubs are going off to play international football, and youth players as well. So we might as well speak about them. Well, first and foremost, my initial thoughts in regards to the start of this season has been, I think we still have cause to be optimistic. I feel when you're being optimistic, especially considering that for most Arsenal fans, we didn't expect to have the summer we did. And I think because our expectations were so low, and yes, it was a great job and take nothing away, we've done a fantastic job of outgoings and incomings. But I think because of our expectations, people are getting I won't say a false sense of confidence, but I do think we're moving away from reality a bit, in where we think everything has changed at this club. Everything is changing, but it's going to take time, specifically on the football field. And I have seen some positives. The first positive I'll say is, I don't necessarily agree with the game plan that we played against Liverpool, but on the basis of remembering the coaching staff and the players, they worked on something all week and they tried to implement it in the week. I always talk about our failure to previously do that in previous seasons. So whether I agree with it or not, just to see the intelligence that we're trying to stay with the game plan. And although we had this, ultimately we lost at Liverpool, so it doesn't really matter, but it was a better performance of sorts. Again, we'll get onto the individual errors that are still a part to play and which played a part in that game for Liverpool. And whatnot. So I have seen, and against Spurs as well, I think there were similarities between how we played Spurs last season, but rather than press them from the minute they touched the ball, we conceded a bit of space to their centre halves and then looked to press and stuff. So I saw a good little game plan from the Spurs game as well, and especially when he went with the front three, I understand why he went with the midfield he did. There is a debate to be said if you're going to go with the dangerous front three of Aubameyang, Lacazette and Pepe. Either Ceballos or Mesut Ozil got to be behind them, people. But I don't have any problems with how we lined up against Spurs. So I'm seeing that sort of thing. Looking at it, we've conceded how many goals, people? I don't even know, about 6 or 7. I should have even written that down, people. But I do know is that Chelsea have conceded 9, which is worse than us. Watford, West Ham, Norwich and Brighton, I believe, and I think I'm missing out another team, but they've all conceded more goals than us, with the exception of Chelsea, who look a bit shaky defensively, and that could be a root of some of their issues. It's not really positive in that regards. We've kept 1 clean sheet. We've had Liverpool and Spurs, so we'll give us a bye. Nobody expected a clean sheet against Liverpool. Obviously, you knew there was going to be a penalty against Spurs some way or another, so I think all fans expected to concede in that game, people. But nonetheless, we've kept 1 clean sheet against Newcastle. We conceded against Burnley. We conceded against Liverpool, Spurs. I'm missing out a team we faced, people. Newcastle, Burnley, Liverpool, Spurs. Now I'm lying. There's 4 games. So 4 games, 6 or so goals conceded. 1 against Burnley, 2 against. Yeah, it's about 6. Got 5-6 goals conceded. 1 clean sheet. We're 17th for tackles as well. Again, I wanted to see us be a bit tenacious. We're 17th for tackles, so we have got improvements. And like I said, it's never going to be a quick fix. But saying that, we're ahead of Spurs. Spurs have made 57 tackles as a team, people. It's a bit irrelevant, but I was looking at a couple individual passing stats and things like that, and team stats, and we don't quite rank high for them sort of things. So maybe we can do a bit more in possession in terms of trying to penetrate teams and things like that. In my humble opinion, we can't not speak about individual errors, people, just by looking at it. I don't want to drop players in it, because you don't know I don't like to scapegoat players, people, but to highlight it, Xhaka's made 7 errors in whatever duration, people. In fact, since I've got a stat here, since the Premier League began tracking the statistics, only 3 outfield players, Martin Skrtel, Julian Lescott and Gary Cahill, have made more errors directly leading to goals than Xhaka 7. Now, Xhaka's conceded penalties. He's given the ball away on the edge of the area. Inability to follow runners. Sometimes I think he's scapegoated, but he is a liability right now in the team. And away from him, you look at Xhaka's 7 errors. Leno made an error, obviously, against Spurs, and Socrates kind of had a part to play in that. In fact, just looking at it, Arsenal have made 13 errors leading to goals since the start of the Premier League last season, the most of any club in the competition. Leno has made six errors. So you've got Xhaka and Leno, no disrespect to Leno because I think he's good, making errors within the team. And you obviously had Luiz. The statistics don't show Socrates for no reason jumping up with Xhaka for a header and vacating his space. So while Xhaka and Leno are statistically the ones with errors, we've got to look at concentration because it's going to cost us. We can say ifs and buts against Liverpool. If Luiz didn't concede the penalty and he didn't dive in, we wouldn't have lost there, and that's true. Fact is, we did. We conceded a penalty and it was a poor first goal initially for Spurs to concede. We can say we deserve to get something out of the game. Spurs can say the same. Fact is, we drew. It's not a bad point, but these are the things we've got to get out of our game because the more these individual errors play a part, it was never going to be fixed in a month, but the more these individual errors play a part, they're costing us points, people. Against Spurs and Liverpool, facts are we've got 1 point against both, but could we have potentially have got 4? Could we have got 6? Again, we can't deal with ifs and buts. We can only deal with the facts. And on Leno, I do think a couple of them errors are going to happen and have been a byproduct of playing out from the back. When you play out from the back, there's going to be the occasional errors. And again, I don't have examples to head, but I'm sure some of these errors that are technically blamed as Leno, it weren't always him. But I do think Leno has issues. At times you see him come collect the ball into no man's land. At times his passing can put pressure on teammates. At times you've seen his handling hasn't been the best, people. So there are question marks with Leno. For me, I like that Leno's confidence, but he's confident, but I can't lie. I get the feeling he's a bit arrogant, people. That's just what I get, and I don't know him as a man to be saying that, but that's just how he comes across to me on the field. And I think that's very dangerous, people. And I do think it costs us as well. So we've got to get these individual errors out of the game, people. We've got to, players have to look at their decision making and remain in focus, because especially in top 6 games, you have to stay focused for high periods of time. Like, you look at the 2 games we played, young players have been on the field. And yes, Maitland-Niles, Willock will make mistakes, Nelson will make mistakes, all of these young players will make mistakes. Not all of them were playing, but you look at Liverpool, it's experienced players that cost us that game, people. Do you get? Against Spurs, it's experienced individuals. Socrates, Leno, Xhaka, who else am I missing? Socrates, Leno, Xhaka, Luiz. These are experienced players in the best part of their 20s or early 30s that have played for their countries and done several things. So I'm looking at them to be the pillars and be focused. They should be focused, people, and we keep switching up, so we're going to need to fix up, because no matter what way you shape it, people, how we defend is how we're going to get top 4. Yes, we've got a dangerous attack. Arsenal will score goals, people, but it's how we defend. We've got 1 clean sheet. Again, I'm not reading too much into that because we had 2 top 6 games to play this month, but we had 1 clean sheet. And individual errors keep getting us into mistakes. Look at how Emre set us up in against Liverpool and Spurs, people, to focus on them. You can say what you want, but at the end of the day, his game plan to a degree was shot out of the window because of certain mistakes in that game, and that has been the case. We're going to Old Trafford at the end of the month. Do you not remember how Old Trafford was last season? I keep saying this in every vid until you're sick of me. Well, we don't travel to Old Trafford well, clearly, people, but we did all right in that game. I think we should have won that. Look, go and watch the highlights. Look how quickly we scored and then they scored. Go and look at, I believe, the last Leno goal in the series of errors between Leno, between the defenders as well. It's about being concentrated. I don't know how to fix it. These players are clearly aware of it, because Luiz came out the other day and said, we need to learn from our mistakes. So they're aware of it, but it's easier said than done. There's no smoke without fire. If we've made 13 errors leading to goals since the start of last season, that's goals that either shows players can't handle the pressure, that shows players can't remain focused, that shows players are not switched on defensively. This is not me being critiquing them, this is me being fair. I think we've started off the season well. Young players have started off the season well. Joe Willock, sad to be dropped against Spurs. In particular, held his own against Liverpool. And if I had to look for a player of the month, I think Aubameyang's been in form and whatnot. But I'd give it to Joe Willock, man. I know he didn't play against Spurs, but I think being that young bull, it's all fun and dandy taking your chances in pre-season, but Premier League is a different ball game, and he held his own, people. I felt he was unlucky to not start against Spurs, but he's shown that he can do something in this squad, and shown when given opportunities, yes, he'll go through good and bad periods and have bad games, but he's shown he can hold his own. He's given Emre and the club and the fans confidence that if he's called upon, he can do his thing. And like I said in many vids, it's going to be a long season in which we're going to need all of the squad. apart from Mustafi. But we're going to need all of the squad players. There's players that are not going to be used immediately. They're going to be needed, people, because I wouldn't say we're stretched. I think we've got a healthy balance. But 1-2 injuries within this side, then we're in a bit of a pickle, people. Like for example, touch wood. I'm looking for the wood to touch, but just say Joe Willock can play in the 10, right? Just say Joe Willock and Ceballos get injured. Ozil gets injured. Who plays in the creative role? We'd have to go with a flat midfield three. Do you get it? Torreira gets injured. Who fills in there? Do you get it? Even if I'm again not the best example, but if Leno gets injured, we've got to have faith that Martinez can step in and play out from the back to the standard Emre wants to implement, and also first and foremost keep goals from going in the back of our net. We've still got teething problems defensively. Obviously, we have not had our first choice defence to work with, people of such. So when obviously there's talk of Bellerin and Turney being back after the international break, Holding as well. So when these lot are back, while I don't expect them to be back and we're keeping 10 clean sheets on the bounce, I want to see an obvious improvement in how we defend. And for Emre, it'll be good to have them to coach and coach how he wants to play football and move as a back line, because. And even that, people, I do believe, regardless of who is in our defence, there should be a base level of how we defend. It's not the same thing, people. But you see in defences of Chambers and Socrates, Holding and Chambers, Luiz and Socrates this season, Koscielny and Mustafi and whoever, Socrates. You've seen a bunch of different defences, including the left back and the right back, and Leno's been in goal. But the one denominator there's been some sort of base level with playing out from the back. It's never been perfect, but players have recognised we've got to keep playing out from the back. Centre halves have to split. Left back and right back potentially go higher up the field if Leno's not trying to give you the ball. So regardless of who is in our defence there, if there's a base level of how we want to play there, why can't there be a base level of being proactive in following runners, in dropping deep, in doing things defensively like that? Because again, I just said it, we ain't got our first choice defence, but if they can take to grips with playing out from the back quickly and everybody in the squad can, when needed, can do that, why can't we follow runners? Why can't we be switched on from defence people? Why can't we do several things? It's not the same, but if they can get to one, I don't see why they can't get to the other. I'm happy with the start we've made, people. At the end of the day, we're 5th on 7 points. It could have been worse. We took 4 points against Burnley and Newcastle, which we knew we needed to do going against Liverpool and Spurs. I do think there's small positives to take from the Liverpool game, but at the end of the day is the same underlying issues remained in that, and we walked away with a defeat again at Anfield. Spurs, we can say they could have won, we could have won, shoulda, woulda, coulda. The fact is, individual mistakes, for as good as I think we played in a positive start, individual mistakes cost us on 2 points that game, people. And these are underlying factors, and these individual mistakes are going to keep happening, people. It's going to take a while to get over this, but that is what has to be a priority to fix between Emre and the rest of the coaching squad. But so far, so good, man, really and truly. We're 5th, can't really complain. We're 7 points. We've got 2 of the top 6 clashes out of the way. United at the end of the month. Watford away soon as well. Not too sure. And let me look, people, rather than be lazy. Arsenal fixtures. So yeah, people, we're going to need the whole squad because we've got Watford away. And then obviously we've got Eintracht Frankfurt in the Europa League away from home to kick off things. Then we welcome Aston Villa at our place. Nottingham Forest v Arsenal is obviously going to be in the League Cup, and we'll see some squad players playing that. 6 days later, we've got United people away from home at Old Trafford. September is coming thick and fast, people. And just looking at October, the games are coming thick and fast in October as well, people. October, we should be looking to get maximum points. No disrespect to any of the teams, because they're all tough. We've got Standard Liège at home, Bournemouth at home, which isn't going to be easy. Sheffield United with all the Steel City heart, that is not going to be easy at all. Victoria in the Europa League, Crystal Palace at our place, in which they beat us last season, and Zaha potentially could audition for another move in January then. And then obviously November, we've obviously got Wolves, Victoria, Leicester away, Wolves at home, Southampton at home, Frankfurt at home, Norwich away. Oh no, I was Norwich away. Norwich away is in December, people. So the games are coming thick and fast, people. In fact, even looking at the new year is peak, people. Look, we start December with Norwich away, then Brighton, then West Ham away, which we lost last season. Standard Liège at their place, Manchester City on the 14th, Then we go away to Everton, it will be play against us. Then we go away to Bournemouth. Then we welcome Chelsea at our place. Then we welcome United at our place. Then we go to Crystal Palace away. Then we welcome Sheffield. And then we've got Chelsea again. Then we've got Burnley again in the new year, people. In fact, this is all me going into the new year now, people. Burnley in the new year. Then Newcastle at home. And we've got City in February, people. The fixture list, the people that do the fixture list have done us, people, really and truly. There's going to be no time for error, people. We're going to lose some games. We're going to drop points. But it's important that we win these games as well, people. Football's a simple game. It's about not losing when you deserve to lose and winning when you don't deserve to win. There will be times where we just simply lose. We're just simply not at it. But more often than not, when we look back in the 38-game period, there's got to be periods where we've put consistent W's together. You look at Liverpool, we're a long way away from being at Liverpool standard. One defeat at Anfield last season, forgive me if I'm wrong, or was it one in the Premier League in total? You then look at Spurs a couple of years ago when they got top four. They were unbeaten at what's that place, man? Unbeaten at White Hart Lane. We've got to put together some sort of form. Our home form is way better than our away form, but we've got to go to some of these places and pick up 3 points, people. How we perform away from home in terms of winning games and clean sheets is what it's going to come down to, on top of individual errors, people. On that note, I've got nothing more to say, man. It's been a decent start to the Premier League season, but we'll see what else happens. People, DG, I'm out.